Ladies and gentlemen, I've been running ads for about 8 years now, and in these 8 years, I've seen Facebook or Meta ads go through so many iterations, and the latest one is the Andromeda update. And with the Andromeda update, like any other major update, things shift and the old way of doing things doesn't work anymore. And that is exactly what I'm going to cover in this video. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you want to structure your Facebook ads moving forward to be profitable and be successful with your ads. And this is going to be a post Andromeda update video. Right? So I'm going to tell you exactly what worked before, what you were doing before, and what to do now so that you can consistently make money with it. To give you some proof, as I said, I've been running ads for 8 years. We've worked with over 500 clients. I'll put some screenshots or videos of some of our clients' stores doing hundreds of thousands of dollars. So you know I know a thing or two when it comes to running profitable ads. Also, at the same time, before I jump right into the video, I'm offering 10 free consultation calls to my subscribers. All you have to do is like this video, subscribe to the channel, click the first link in the description. You'll be taken to my calendar. On my calendar, if you see a free spot, book a free call with me. On the call, I'll go over everything you need help with, such as your store, your marketing, what you're struggling with. I'll be more than happy to help you with it. With that being said, make sure you watch till the end. Let's jump right into it. So let's talk about the old way. The old way is done. It's not going to work anymore. What will work is simplicity, right? The first thing you want to know is that Andromeda now has doubled down on automation. That is one of the big parts of the update. So Meta now doesn't want you to micromanage with 50 different audiences and 12 different campaigns. It wants automation. It doesn't want confusion in the system. So what works now is keeping your account lean. One big campaign, broad campaign for each objective, right? So in terms of the campaign, the biggest change now is that CBO is going to be your best friend. CBO, which stands for Campaign Budget Optimization, is going to be a necessity now, and that is why I recommend you use. It's no longer optional. How I see it is that it's the backbone of how Meta wants you to run your ads post the Andromeda update. And this is because with CBO, it lets the algorithm allocate spend dynamically to whatever's working instead of you playing guesswork. So basically how this works is you'll give the CBO campaign a budget, and Facebook will then choose which ad set to allocate more of the budget to based on how it's performing, right? This again goes hand in hand with what Facebook wants moving forward, which is automation, right? And this is eventually what's going to happen in 2026 as well. More automation where Facebook takes more control. The kicker, however, is that when you structure around CBO, you can scale faster because the system doesn't hit learning limits as often. So you give Facebook the freedom to give you winners and quietly kill the losers, which means less work for you, more consistent results because it's backed by data, and you get better results. So all in all, I see the Andromeda update as something that is eventually going to help people make more consistent sales. Now, obviously, in the time being, because it's a big shift, a lot of people don't know how to adapt to it. There's a lot of people losing money, but I've made actually a couple of videos on this. You can see on my channel that'll help you with it. But let's get back to the video. The next thing I want to talk about is the ad sets, right? And there's a big shift with ad sets now in this new Andromeda update. The big shift is that your creative matters more than your audience. What this basically means is that if you still think that ad sets with testing different audiences or interests is going to help you make money, you are completely wrong. In 2025 and moving forward, your creative is what makes your audience. Your creative will decide which audience sees your ad, not your interest targeting. And that is why you want to go broad with your interest targeting. Don't really hone down in one interest, but make sure you work on your creative and structure your creative and make it for a certain audience. And Facebook will find the best audience for that creative. So your ad set should be built around your creative concepts, not your interest targeting. And the way we do this, it's very simple. Each ad set will have one creative concept, which means one creative selling angle. And inside that ad set, we test about 5 to 10 different variations of different creatives. This means different visuals, different hooks, different styles of videos. And each video concept also has its own ad copy, right? So we test different headlines and different text as well. This way, the structure helps you figure out what works and what doesn't, and also what audiences and what selling angles will perform the best. Again, there's no room for guesswork. It's a very simple, very straightforward format. So I want you to replicate the same, especially now with the Andromeda update. This is what will get you results. The next thing I want to touch on is Advantage Plus campaigns. So thanks to the Andromeda update, targeting is not complicated anymore. If anything, it's very simple. You want to go broad with Advantage Plus, and that is it. You don't want to overcomplicate it at all. Your gender, your location, your age filter only matters if they are absolutely necessary for your product, right? But in most examples, I would recommend just keeping everything broad. So for example, if you're selling women's lingerie, obviously you want to exclude men unless your selling angle is, selling the lingerie as gifts for partners. But for the most part, you want to just keep it broad, right? And again, it only varies if your product is gender specific, but even then I would recommend for most products it's going to be broad with no specific targeting, right? And in terms of exclusions, honestly, you barely need them anymore. Facebook will ignore half of them anyway. So as long as your creative is dialed in, you don't need to worry about anything to do with targeting. Just have broad targeting campaigns with Advantage Plus and you're good to go. The next change that has happened post Andromeda is diversifying with creatives, right? So how do you diversify with creatives the right way? The golden rule post Andromeda is to have a variety of ad creatives to test. And I do not mean 3 to 4 ad creatives. You need at least 6 to 10 ad creatives every single week to test consistently and diversify so that you know exactly what works and what doesn't. This is one of the big changes with Andromeda, and this is what you want to implement. Now, also because your creative is the new targeting, you also need different creatives that target different audiences, right? So, for example, if you have a weight loss supplement, you'd want to have one ad creative that is targeting mothers and the other ad creative that is targeting older women with a before or after picture, right? Now, to test a different audience, let's say you want to test men, you can have a different creative that is tailored to men viewing the ad creative, right? This is how you distinguish and make your creatives very based on the audience that you want to reach. So whatever audience you have in mind, make sure your creative is made specifically for that audience. If your creative is broad and doesn't really target a specific audience, it will not perform well. So creators need to be tailored to specific audiences. And now the last thing I want to talk about is scaling. Scaling is a big chaos now with the new Andromeda update. I see people losing so much money. They're seeing dips in performance and they don't know what to do. So let me talk about scaling. Now the big rule with scaling is increase your budget only 20% every 2 days. You do not want to do it every single day. You don't want to increase it 50%, 60, 70%, 20% every 2 days while looking at necessary KPIs. And if you see a sudden drop in a day or two, don't panic. This is why I tell you to wait 2 days before increasing your budget. Just give Facebook time. Hold the budget steady for 2 to 3 more days and then let the algorithm recover. You only want to cut your spend if the ad doesn't perform even after 3 days of the new budget. Other than that, just let it run. Every 2 days, increase it by 20%. Another pro tip is that do not turn off your ads too fast. Sometimes your ad will look like it's underperforming, but it's actually playing a role in the funnel. It's doing its job. It just needs more time. Killing it early will throw off the whole campaign and will affect your sales overall. So give it 2 days, see if it performs well. If it doesn't really perform well, give it another 1 to 2 days, keeping the budget steady, and then decide if you want to kill it or if you want to run it consistently. So, ladies and gentlemen, the bottom line with the Andromeda update is that the key is simplicity. Facebook wants to push more automations. It wants to take more control over, and it will get you better results if you let it. The king is your creative, run CBOs. It's very simple, very straightforward, not very complicated. If you need help and if you're struggling with your ads, if you're struggling with your store, book a free call with me. Click the link in the description, book a call. I'll be more than happy to help you with it. That being said, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.